there was a time we lived in a place where we used to joke that we lived in Louisiana, our dog lived in Arkansas. And Monroe was still it. But yeah, so when you say big cities, that's a very relative term.
Okay, so 230 socioeconomic zones.
Right.
That it really is the United States, where most of the people make their money, most of the people spend their money, and all that relates back to the immigrants. And how exactly?
Well, just that when people are telling you if you don't like it, leave, and things like that, when people are trying to keep someone out, the motivation tends to be that arbitrary.
Those lines.
Yeah.
Okay. And those lines really don't matter when it comes down to, where we actually are as a country with all those 230 areas of. Okay.
And, another modern challenge, contemporary challenge, is we still have these zones, but we also have eyes around the world.
Yes, with the internet.
Right. And, that this is definitely a modern issue. Something that nothing I've talked about from the 1820s can really touch, is the concept of local and global. Has not been, that hasn't really been in the lexicon until very recently. And it's a new challenge, because there is maintaining, I guess, balance between the concept of home, the concept of kind of your sphere of influence, and maximizing your ability to reach further, and what effect the one has on the other, and that kind of throws significant wrinkles into the concept, or into the issue, the ever-present issue of immigration, and its motivations and its welcome.
Yeah, I feel like it probably helps with also just kind of figuring out like where the best places to go and to migrate to. Like I feel like that's probably a Googled thing is like what country is best to migrate to, or to move to. And it makes me wonder how when we went all the way back to the Irish people coming in, how exactly they knew that it was going to be a better situation than where they were at, other than maybe a couple people going and coming back and saying, yeah, it was pretty great there.
Well, for that time, that's a fairly simple answer, in that the exchange between Southern planters and English textile barons was so constant and ingrained, even by that, even that early, that especially when it's found out that New Orleans has become American, that was a huge deal. Because they had these ideas of municipal internal improvements. Since that they hadn't really, it was a new thing for America too, to take over a city that was already there for a century. And so it like I said, it developed the reputation of being a work depot, and I think that's a pretty easy analogy to today, and the reason people make their way here a lot of the time. But yeah, I guess the Google would have been the ship owners saying, "Go to New Orleans, hop in the hold."
Yeah,
I
feel like and if you're not necessarily like a ship holder or a person that was going and getting the textiles and bringing them back, and so there was a like constant talk between those guys. But you just hear about your Irish brother who's just like, oh well, he left and he didn't come back, so I'm guessing either it went really well or it didn't go great, and things aren't going great here. So I guess I'll hop on that train too, or
right,
boat in the sense, but
proverbial train.
Yes, proverbial train.